Give me a minute. We'll be on. Thank y'all for tuning in. All right, let's go. Tell me like it is, and not like it was. Tell me like it is, and not like it was. Tell me like it is. Right, we are on. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. If you could hit the like button on Facebook and share this commentary, I would deeply appreciate it. It's a very intense topic today, but we're going to have to do this a different way because I left all of my information in Jacksonville and I can't find it. And I promise you, I think I left it in Jacksonville, but as soon as I'm finished with this broadcast, I'll find it somewhere in the house. But it just wasn't meant for me to go off of paper with this topic. So what I want to do is to first do a couple of things. I want to ask all of you, if possible, if you have a YouTube account or if you're connected with YouTube, go over to YouTube at the 19 Report channel and subscribe to the channel, the 19 Report channel. That is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina, the 19 Report. And also, if you would like to donate to the broadcast, you can donate at Cash App, $19 Promotions, or PayPal at PayPal.me/19 Photographics. We have not because we asked not. I don't like to use that quote willy-nilly, but it is the God's honest truth. I don't mind asking for things when I need it, and I know what I'm doing when I ask by God's permission. So I'm asking for your support, your help, your sharing, because it is past time that we begin to address things right here in Manning, South Carolina, as opposed to feeling things and wanting to go all the way to Ohio and New York and pay tribute and all of that stuff. Those people live their lives without you in it. They don't even know you. But right here in Manning, South Carolina, we are having trouble. So just saw a breaking news, 1 dead, four injured, police officer injured in a shooting. So right on time with the subject matter. I told you that I would come back on with commentary because of a situation right here in I call it Manning, and I don't want to mention many names for the because I don't want you to take anything out of context. Don't take what I'm saying out of context. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what Jamil is saying, and listen how he uses his own life as the example to go by. I can't speak for anyone's life but my own. This is my example. This is my testimony. And the reason I give my testimony is because I know that I'm in the physical condition I'm in, the mental condition that I'm in, because I had to go through so much, and I didn't have a group of people, a squad, a gang. I didn't have any of that. It was just myself and God, and I had to go through it. So, and I take that knowledge to share with those of us who need it, because more of us need it than you would think. If my face looks swollen, if I look like I've gained weight, I did. I'm on, can't remember the drug, but it is like a steroid, because I'm sharing my journey with you that I will be having serious critical surgery coming up very soon. And it requires that I die for 6 hours or less, or maybe more, on a table in order to get that done. So I'm on a lot of different drugs, and I'm going to post some pictures up of all the shots and everything that I've had to take. But that doesn't, and I can barely breathe right now. Any of you that take steroids, you know how it does your lungs and everything else. But that does not negate the fact that we must continue to fight until we die. Jesus did it. All the prophets did it. So we have to do it. Now, we're on the subject today of domestic violence. When the guns come out, I wanted to, first of all, thank Shrimp Thing. I don't know who the gentleman was, but he did a live video this morning. And that's the first thing I happened to see. And the video was very powerful. I really appreciated that video, and I commented on it. But he made a quote that it said, "Speak truth even if your voice is trembling." So today my voice may tremble a bit because the truth that I have to tell is about myself and many others. I want to thank Kendrick James for posting up several great posts today on Facebook. One in particular about having extramarital affair, extra girlfriend affairs, and I'm hoping we'll be able to get together and talk about that. But that sparked my attention today, and I appreciate the fact that people are thinking on that level. And of course, I want to send shout out to my partner Dale Castro Powell, who's have a testimony of his own. I know what he's going through, but I'd rather him tell you himself. But this brother is he's really fighting the power, man, really fighting the situation. As you know, his son was murdered. He and Tanya Thames, but you know, Dale is on the show. Tanya is like my baby sister because her brother and I were very, very close. He passed away. So I just want to give shouts out to them, recognition to them. They will be having a memorial on tomorrow out at what is it called? Sea Britton Park, the park out in Bellwood. I can't invite you out. I don't know exactly how it goes, but that's where it'll be. So we're talking today. Give me about an hour and 10, 15 minutes. Thank everyone on Facebook. Thank everyone on YouTube and also on Periscope. We're broadcasting live on Instagram. So I think we're broadcasting on 4 platforms right now. Now, I knew Lester Reed. I am not here to talk about his life. I don't know his life, but I knew him because he and I, coming up, when I was into cars, we would always build speaker boxes and compare notes with amplifiers. And besides Papa, who had the, I think the yellow 6.4 with the cream color seats and the hydraulics at the time, Lester was the only person I knew that had a truck with hydraulics in it. And it was a small truck, but it had the batteries in the back. And I used to love to, we meet up and I'd be like, man, make that thing move. And but he had these puppy dog eyes. That's Lester. And he had this, how the Grinch Stole Christmas smile. And when he smiled, man, he looked so just like a little pudgy puppy dog. I'd never known him to get angry. I'd never known him to get upset about much of anything. But like I said, I didn't know him. But what occurred, because when it happened, I was out of town, but people kept texting and calling me, you know, Lester Reed. And I was thinking Tim Reed because Tim and I, we went to school together. And then my sister texted me a picture and said he was a part of the church, Pastor Fulton. And I saw the picture and I'm like, not him. And as I'm thinking, not him and not the person that he took her life, and I apologize for not having her name available, but I literally lost all of my notes, and it was meant to be so I could tell you the story. But I want to talk to you on the level of a male with a female first, and how my mind snapped when I was with my ex-wife. Many of you in Manning, South Carolina know that I'm telling the truth. You know it, mainly because many of the guys, you were involved with her, and the women, y'all were, you know, coming around telling me this and that so y'all could get involved with me. So that's how that went. But I remember the first time that I suspected, and this is not what I'm saying happened, but I remember the first time I suspected my ex-wife was having an extramarital affair. I don't know if I jacked her up or if I hit her that time, but all I knew is what I felt in my heart was like total betrayal, because I felt like I had given her all of myself. And now you go and give yourself to somebody else who only given you pleasure, but I was giving you pleasure and taking the pain and the suffering and everything else. Now, she is not a bad person. We were young. We were naive. But I'm telling you how my heart felt. I'm telling you how my mind snapped. I'm telling you what I intentionally planned to do, that Lester Reed and his fiance or girlfriend, unfortunately, he carried it out. And a 16-year-old boy, I think, had to either witness it or know what was about to happen. I think his mother actually called 911. And as they entered the home, that's when he took her life and then took his life. What was going on in his mind? I'm telling you what was going on in my mind. My very first girlfriend, whom I first had sex with, and I need you all to listen to this. This is not about me. This is about you young boys out there who think you tough, who think you can handle anything. You can handle a bullet. You can handle getting beat up, kicked out, knocked out, all of that. But matters of the heart are different. Matters of the heart will break the biggest person down to a minute size. Matters of the heart will cause the brain to snap. Matters of the heart, because the heartstring is connected to God until it is broken, will cause a person to do things that they never thought they would do. And the way you can tell when a person is remorseful for what they did is because they will carry out the very same sentence that they inflicted upon the person. They carry it out on themselves. So if I kill, I'm going to kill myself. That's how you know that this young man, something happened in the heart, in the mind, in the pineal gland. Something snapped. Now, my first girlfriend was sleeping with the whole area. I didn't know it. They went on a school trip. She comes back looking starry-eyed and lovely. Done fall in love with one of my best friends, and they done screwed on the senior trip, and everybody knew about it except me. I confronted him about it, but I just couldn't fight him. I just didn't know the justification of fighting him. Months later, she called me, and I got people who can verify this, but I won't say their name. She wanted to get together for a quick sex session. When she called me, my mind said, I'm going to kill that bitch. Tonight, I'm going to kill her. So we're in Manning Garden apartment upstairs. It's an ironic thing because my mother, God rest her soul, ended up living in that apartment. We're upstairs. A guy and his girl in one room because dude said, I ain't coming unless my man comes. I was just talking to him last night. I'm in the living room with her. We're engaged in sexual activity. I snapped. The moment I snapped, I put my hands around her neck as I'm having sex with her, and I'm choking her. And my intentions is to take her life. I'm in high school. I didn't come back to myself until she started saying, stop, stop, stop. And I'm like, what? That's how quick matters of the heart takes over a person. When I realized that I could snap like that, I was very careful who I got involved with. But then I got involved with my ex-wife, and I knew her background. First time I hit her. Many of you saw me online with my second son, my second oldest son. When she was pregnant with him, she was having an affair with somebody else. She came home that night. We got into it. I knocked her down, and some other things happened, but I ended up cutting all of the nerves in my hand that night. I didn't try to commit suicide, just that I was punching everything because my dad used to punch everything. I get that angry, and my hand went through china cabinet glass and cut me a little bit, but I ended up having to have 7 surgeries on my hand because of that. My pineal gland snapped. My mind snapped. My heart snapped. You out there having sex with somebody while you say you pregnant with my son, but somebody else's penis is hitting my son's head. And you come home talking trash to me. I'm going to kill you. That was my mindset. So I'm talking about domestic violence when the guns come out. I'm talking about physical right now. I'm talking about the situation with Lester Reed and many others. I got a video I want to play for you real quickly because I didn't know him as a violent person. Like, I knew he didn't take no stuff. The Reeds just don't. They never did, as far as I'm concerned. but not like that. And we can push this thing under the rug, act like it didn't happen, go on to the next thing, badmouth him, badmouth the woman who unfortunately was murdered, and the young man gotta live with the fact that this happened, and maybe he wish he could have done something, but he wasn't courageous enough to do it, maybe. But he gotta live with that the rest of his life. And the thing about knowing that Lester, like myself, had cognitive knowledge, he knew what he was doing, because he ain't trying to, from my understanding, take the life of the young boy. The situation didn't have anything to do with him, from my understanding. Murder, suicide. So my ex-wife and I separated. Y'all know I lived across town. She moved. We ended up, I dated someone else. They've passed away. We ended up moving back in together over probably, I don't know, a year, 2 years. But the same thing was going on. You're giving what I worked hard for, not just working at the home, trying to work a job or whatever I'm doing to make money, because I was hustling then. Not just cutting the grass and making sure that everything is all right at home, but you give your body to somebody who only came to have sex with you. And that ain't the word I want to say. To F you. You gave it. So the first time I found out about it, I think we got into a heated argument. She pulled out a hammer. My father was murdered by his brother with a hammer. First, I remember I was kicking her. I was throwing side kicks and front kicks to keep her away from me. But she kept coming because, you know, and then I rolled her over somehow. I went in the room. I got a 22 nickel plated kid. I never forget it. I put it right in her face, hammer back. I'm going to kill you today. And you know why I'm going to kill her? Because I know you're not going to stop doing what you're doing, giving my body, and that's what I was thinking then. You're not going to give my body to somebody else. I'm trying to get you in the understanding of domestic violence, or when the mind snaps. And all the time, my ex-wife, she's steady running her mouth, steady talking. Okay. On several occasions, we went through that. The final straw, when the guns come out, they came out 3 times. This time, I remember her friend, God rest her soul, she's passed on now, Carol Felder. They planned a day or whatever. They had my car. I fixed a kerosene heater so that they could have heat in the house. Rented some movies so they could watch movies, because according to them, they said they were going to just sit down and watch movies because Carol was depressed at the time. I understood it. She was pregnant. Carol didn't have a coat. I gave her my trench coat that I got from New York. I gave it to her because I'm that type of person. Let them drive my car. And I stayed home with the children that night. I'm telling you how people will snap. I'm telling you to look at the whole story, but I got to use my own life, because all I know about Lester is that the Lester that I knew. We used to build speaker boxes, and we used to talk about how we were going to hook up our cars. We didn't have much money, so we did the best we could. And in the pit of my stomach that night, I was outside hitting on my punching bag, because I always punch, my bag. Y'all know I love martial arts. Many of you know that. And man, I got something in the pit of my stomach that says something just wasn't right. So I begged God to let me see the truth. And my partner called me from Melvin Dennis. Y'all don't know about Melvin Dennis, but they tore Melvin Dennis down. And he said, yo, I just saw 2 dudes get in your car with this girl and my ex. You need to check them. Got you. I didn't have a car. That's what they were banking on. But I went down the street and I borrowed my neighbor's car. I pulled up on the house. I knocked on the door, pitch dark. I know what's going on. My ex opens the door. As soon as she opened the door, wham, right in the face. I pulled the gun out. Carol said that I was shooting. I blacked out. That's just how it happens. I snapped. I remember seeing her running around the room, and I remember pointing the gun, but I don't remember pulling the trigger. The dude jumps out the back door. This is y'all know it's a true story. I went out the front door. Wham, 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 wham. Shooting. He ran through the woods with his underwear on because Charles Council, my partner, my main man, he's passed on now, God rest his soul, but he called me, man, why you got my cousin running home in his underwear, man? I said, I'm going to kill that nigga. I'm going to kill him. I snapped. I was broken as a man, and I felt I had nothing to lose. I snapped. Not only was she going to die, but I had a list of dudes, crosstown dudes. These niggas thought I was a joke. And perhaps they still think I'm a joke, but I ain't never had to run with no group of people. So, nigga, I'ma kill all of y'all. But I had no intentions of taking my own life. I snapped to that point. And if it were not for God, I wouldn't have made it out of that. I would be dead or in prison for the rest of my life because people are killing people just like that. Now, did he have an extramarital affair on her? I don't know. Did she have it on him? I don't know. And that's why I say spousal. Spousal. And then the dude that was banging my ex gonna call me on the phone. Hey, man, don't come around my house with that. You know what I'm saying? Because my wife at home, you know what I'm saying? Nigga, I'm gonna kill you. That's what I told him. And I meant it. I meant it. But the last time, even after all of that vow, and I hit my ex so many times, I just blacked out. I'm hitting her, but I'm hitting her in the top of the head. I hit her so many times that I shattered my knuckle. My knuckle was all the way back here on my hand. I shattered it, and I kept on hitting and hitting. And then the craziest thing, man, when I came back to my senses, I went home and called the police on myself. Because when I left her, she was knocked out cold. She had gotten up, but she was trying to run. And you ever seen the MMA fighters where they kick the leg and try to break the kneecap? I was trying to break her kneecap. I'm kicking her and kicking her. Domestic violence. I'm kicking this woman, knowing what I'm capable of doing, just kicking her. And I remember she's out of her mind, dizzy because I done wailed on her. She said, that's enough. That's enough. Then I stopped. I came back to my senses, got in the car, went home. From a female perspective, this is how difficult it can get for a person when they feel betrayed by their significant other. When a woman comes to you and say, you don't do nothing. You don't do nothing for my kids. You don't do nothing for nothing. That's the third time. That was bad. That second time. But the third time, I had to go, y'all know about that. You know it's the truth. I had to go get my children from Summerton. The guns come out again. The police from Sumter, Summerton, Manning. And I had a neighbor, James Pringle, still a police officer, living next to us at the time. I think he came over the ditch and was like, man, whatever you did, you know what I mean? You better, I ain't did nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. They're saying that you kidnapped your children at gunpoint. That's what they're saying. The sheriff department called me on the phone. You in big trouble, buddy. It got to that point. So I understand domestic affairs. And I want us to understand, listen, woman, you're beautiful. Rather the dude act like he like you or not. Rather he's out there cheating or not. Once, and this is the thing y'all don't know about men. You're seeing it more now because it's being made manifest. But since you came out of us, God took you out of the essence of us, not a rib, the essence of us. Man, whoa, man, whoa, whoa, whoa. It can be great. And it can be moderately okay. You stay together all your life with no connection, and it can be horrible. But your actions today, woman, you are more masculine in your brazen acts of infidelity. And usually, like me, this woman almost had me with panties on. I had one leg in panties like a bitch. That's where I was. So I had nothing to lose. Y'all understand me? Since you all are bold now, you're making money now. Even these dudes on the internet who around here showing money and talking about they doing it for the kids and the big TVs and all, they living off of their woman's money. If it ain't welfare money, the woman is out working. But they're glorifying. So she's tired of coming home to seeing you sitting around talking about you a baller. She likes you, may even love you, but she's out there giving her cookies to somebody else because she can't stand you. My ex couldn't stand me because I became like a father figure. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Okay. And by the way, right now, today, we talk with no problem. With no problem. But understand how a person can snap. The only thing that protected me was God. And the only thing that protected her was God. Because I already had in my mind not only how I was going to carry it out, but how I was going to get away with it. My brain thinks extra fast. That's why I don't like to be around people, because people want to challenge you all the time. You know, it ain't going to be, and I'm old now, but it ain't going to be just some easy win. I'm asymmetrical. I'm an asymmetrical warrior. I think, what do you call it? Progressively. So what happened domestically with Lester Reed, we'll never know. The only person that knows who is alive more than anybody else is the young man who survived. He's the one that knows. I want to play a clip for you real quick. Around April 6th in New York City, in Brownsville, this happened. I got a text from someone. They sent me the link when it happened, the same day that it happened. So I want to play this for you real quick, and then we'll be right back, okay? So listen.
Breaking news in Brownsville, Brooklyn overnight. Police say a man shot and killed 3 women before turning the gun on himself.
And we are learning one of the victims was a teenage girl. CBS News' John Diaz joins us live from the Van Dyke houses on Sutter Avenue with the latest this morning. John?
Yeah, good morning to both of you. And authorities telling us that it was a 9-year-old girl that had to call 911. And this morning, we are learning that these 3 victims, one of them is this 9-year-old girl's mother, and the other 2 are either her sisters or her aunts. Authorities right now this morning, they are still trying to figure out that relation. And police telling us also the gunman, the alleged gunman, is believed to be this 9-year-old girl's father. Go ahead now, though, and take a look here at this video. This is what the scene has looked like out here throughout the morning. Authorities, they've been out here since all this happened around 11:30 last night. Here are the Van Dyke houses on Sutter Avenue in Brownsville, Brooklyn, out here investigating. According to the NYPD, the alleged gunman, who has not yet been identified, but police say is 45 years old, shot the mother of his daughter inside her 4th floor apartment, killing the 45-year-old and 2 of her female family members who were also home. One is 20 years old. The other, police say, just a teenager. Again, authorities, they are still trying to figure out the relation. They do believe that these 2 girls are either the sisters or the aunts of this 9-year-old girl. All 3 were pronounced dead at the scene, but this 9-year-old daughter, though, was not injured. Police say the alleged gunman then ran away and shot and killed himself outside of the building. Now, none of these victims have yet to be identified just yet. Police, they are classifying this, though, as a murder-suicide. They tell us that they discovered 2 guns here at the scene, one on this alleged gunman and also another gun next to him when they discovered his body. This morning, authorities, they're still trying to figure out a motive behind all this. We're live this morning from Brownsville, Brooklyn. John Diaz, CBS 2 News.
That happened on April 6th in Brownsville, Brooklyn. Again, a gentleman who had a 9-year-old daughter with a woman She had 2 children prior to that. Here's what I'm telling you what happens. He was invited to come to the home for a birthday party, but he came with guns. So he came like I told you I came. I already had the intent. So he comes with the intent. We're talking about the shadow people because we've opened portals to evil. It's like what's happening in Chicago and Ohio and Detroit and Atlanta. Those people are sacrifices for us to do better. But instead of us doing better, you young boys, y'all are caught up on them drugs. You're caught up on some, you want to live vicariously through someone else. Instead of taking that energy and making money, you taking that energy and making trouble. You trying to punk old people. This man is 45. I'm 51. And I have young niggas trying to punk me like, you don't think I will kill you? I will if I have to. Domestic violence. When the guns come in, I know you will try to kill me as well. 9-year-old girl, his daughter, the other 2 are not his daughter, and then his estranged girlfriend or whatever. He comes to the party, whatever happens, maybe they told him to leave, he snaps. Why did he snap? Right next to you is a negative energy waiting for you to allow it to come into you. So it enters him for a moment. He kills the woman, kills the 2 little girls, and his girl, 9 years old, runs into the closet, called 911. He leaves, and right in front of the building, if you can visualize, a figure with nothing in it leaves his body, and he realized what he does, and he exacts the same punishment on himself that he did on the people that he left dead. He commits suicide. We're talking about an issue that we should be talking about in church, because I got news for you holier than thou people. This praising God and all this extra stuff does not stop the pain of mental illness, the pain of domestic violence. My mother used to go to church after her and my father fought. And I mean fight. Ribs broken, eyes black. I seen her broke his nose. But yet you're still in the church. We have to begin to talk about it. As Shrimp Thing said today, even if your voice is trembling, we got to begin to talk about it. But you all, you know what you love the most? You love gossip, and you love looking at someone from somewhere else. Y'all gonna praise DMX. I love him too. But I ain't talking about DMX today. I'm talking about domestic violence and the young man that took someone's life in his own life. The other thing happened in Brooklyn, but it's related to what I'm talking about right now. And with the COVID, it was reported that because people had to stay in homes, domestic violence skyrocketed. These people were being beaten, male or female or children. No one there to help them. What are we going to do about that? I felt something snap in my heart, in my mind, and in my third eye, my pineal gland, and I just didn't care anymore. So I would hope that instead of spreading rumors about what you think you know about what happened with Lester and his fiance or girlfriend, either you keep your mouth shut or we find out the facts about what happened. I am not talking about him directly. I'm using his life and talking about myself so people will understand that it wasn't just him that went through something like that. It's a lot of men, a lot of women. This is not an isolated incident. It was just played out dramatically and unfortunately. And so the title was Why I Pointed a Gun at My Ex-Wife with the Intent to Kill. Domestic violence when the guns come out. Listen, I have a 3-part series on Amazon. That book was written in '89. It's entitled Few. Full title, Many Claim Call, but Few Are Chosen. In that book, this story is in that book. You can go on Amazon Books and type in my name, Johnny, Johnnny Wilson, Wilson, and it should come up. This man was 45 years old. We are at a point in our lives where we should be settled, but we're still fighting these women. We're still fighting the women with the men. And I'm telling you, even though I hit my ex-wife, my intentions were never to do that because I saw my father hit my mother. Those were my intentions. But something took over me. And because I remember my mother telling my father, leave. You don't do nothing here. And he would leave for days and days and days. So I already had a mental issue, as many of us do. But we don't address the issue. So more and more men, I was talking to someone, I just got home last night, came over, we were talking in the front yard, grown man, 60-something years old. We need to get together as men and talk because we can't be doing this to the women, to take someone's life. It would be better to walk away. So the ending of this story for me was that I told my ex-wife, I said, you got to go. You got to go because this is going to get really bad. So she told the children to get their stuff. And I said, no, I said, you have to leave, not them. Once you get settled, you come back for them, but you go. Because this is we're going to die. So anything that interrupts me and causes me mental conflict, I want to kill it. I want to kill it. So God put in me enough sense to say, leave the situation. I remember my youngest son, my oldest son, when he started smelling himself and I thought that he lied to me one night and I put him out. I wanted to kill him because I was tired of being lied to. Stop lying to me. So rather than do that, put him out. Same thing with my oldest son. He acted up. I put him out. I'm a terrible person, but I'm trying to save lives because people get tired of being lied to. Women get tired of it, and women have gone through centuries of men cheating on them and abusing them. And now God gives the woman the authority to stand up for herself and do what we did to them. And we're saying, you ain't going to do that. I'll take your life first. Real punk way out. So I salute the women. Real. And I pray God's protection over you all. And I pray God's protection over us as he protected me in every single situation that hurt me to the point that I would be willing to take life. And finally, in closing, my mother, God rest her soul, I saw her in a dream. And there was a ugly, ugly blob in my front yard. And I felt like I got to kill this thing. I got to kill it. So I went to get a gun to shoot it. And my mama was saying, don't shoot it. Don't kill it. But I shot it twice anyway. And when I shot it, it went over towards my neighbor's house to my right. And when I chased it, it turned into a Labrador retriever and started jumping up on me and licking on me. And I understood what my mother was saying. She said, literally, every problem that you try to kill will come back in another form. So that gave me the courage to pray more. And it gave me the courage to ask God for foresight, insight, near sight, all of them. Hindsight, you name it. And I was told for the last 10, 15 years to learn myself. So I stopped hanging around people, and you all think I'm some nut, but I'm not. I had to find myself. And I realized that you all never find yourself because you love looking at YouTube, Facebook, anything that deals with gossip and somebody else's problems. That's what we do. Because we're not woman enough or man enough to deal with ourselves. We allow our children to do whatever they want to do because we're not strong enough to tell them don't do it. But I was. And where I fell short, God helped me. God tested me and then he helped me. Why did he allow Lester and his fiance or his girlfriend or his wife to die like that? In closing, because God gives us sacrifices to teach us. And people die to teach us. People go to prison to teach us. People people lose everything to teach us. And instead of learning, we gossip about it. We say, them, look at what they did. But we've been through it ourselves and won't share our experiences to allow people to know that we are human too. We got to do better. I thank all of you for tuning in. This is Jamil Salib Zamir out of Manning, South Carolina. Manning, South Carolina. This is the place where people can set up a gig and go down to the track and get thousands of y'all down there to throw y'all money to them. But if one of us go down there and do something, 2 people will show up. You know why? Because you love other people's stuff. Domestic violence is happening right here. Murder, suicide is happening right here. This man killed himself. The moment the shadow came and left, he realized what he did and took his own life. I got no doubt about that. None. Because it happened to me. And it happens to other people. But we got to take the lesson so that people will stop dying. Thank you for tuning in. Jamil Salib Zamir, Manning, South Carolina.
Tell me like it is, and not like it was. Tell me like it is, and not like it was.